Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Thought Described Podcast. Podcast which deals with magic, with history, with philosophy, the classical, all the classical works and the great thinkers of the past. And I have a great thinker of our contemporary era called, and you're going to help me here with the pronunciation, Eric Bauberger.
Perfect.
Yes. Wow. I should give myself a pat on the back for actually pulling it off on the first try. Yeah. Okay. So,
Absolutely.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Glad to be here. Grateful to be invited into this glorious space with you to chat and to flow and to just be.
Yes. I don't know about glory. Maybe valorous. No. Yeah. So, first of all, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm just starting my day. I went through my normal morning routine, and I'm ready to share this space with you. I'm excited to see what comes forth.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's like, you pick through a door lock. Is that no? There's another word for it. The door. You pick for what, the keyhole. Sorry. I almost said a Canadian story. Yeah. So these types of conversation, they are very weird, because you're in a space that is not a space, but is actually three types of spaces. It's one virtual space, but we share two types of different places. It's like two atoms, like um, mutually trying to copy and imitate each other's, gestures and different affectations, and we're close when it comes to actually being able to know or perceive the other person, but we don't actually know if we are somewhere. We're just inhabiting a space, occupying a sort of space, and it's very weird. But I will have a lot of later on we can talk about that, and expand on that idea. That I have a theory, if you'd like to hear, in just a
Please.
sec. Okay, but I want you to present yourself. I've talked for long enough.
Sure. Yeah, I can't wait to get into that. So yeah, I'm Eric Bauberger. You said my name beautifully. I'm a holistic life coach and motivational singer-songwriter, I've been calling myself. Um, I guide people, excuse me, I guide people to tune their minds and their bodies so that they could create more ease and flow within their own experiences and to ideally access their personal greatest potential or their most authentic self. I find that the more I tune myself, my physical body through movement and what I eat, and my mind through what I think and through mostly what I don't think, um, and as I find my personal rhythms and recognize what is most harmonious with me, more authenticity and expression comes through. More music comes through, more creative insight comes through. So, my mission now at this point, after coming to understand the ways in which I've been able to summon this particular thing I'm talking about within myself, is to guide other people to do the same, to guide them in one on one sessions, to guide them in workshops, and most importantly now for me is to guide people using music, using my creative flow and letting that kind of serve as an example of what I'm pointing towards, and not to get people to mistake, as some would say, the finger for the moon, but to really point and help them recognize that light within themselves and that same part of them that wants to express in whatever multitude of forms.
Yes. Yes, it is quite a strange idea. You know, when you look at a person and you can't hear their voice, the expression or of what they're saying, like the impression of what they're saying takes on a different form. You know, when someone talks and, you know, he gestures and he moves and he has a funny little quirks and stuff like this and micro expressions, or that's a real science, you know, but I don't know how much of it is actually okay, plausible or provable under the, maybe it's under the guise of a real science. I don't know. Like the micro expressions, you know exactly what I mean. Trying to guess what the other person is actually thinking is near to impossible. You know, it's like to put a finger to the moon. But what I like about what you've said so far is I'm just trying to get the honest truth. I don't care if it's a dead air time, you know. Uh, for you, for us, it's quite enjoyable because I've already mentioned you are a calmly, shall we say, astute character, in my opinion. What I perceive from your energies, your aura is a sort of a golden hue, and it's very calming and very, I gotta say, very intimidating. Not in a bad sense, and intimidating in a good sense, where you want to absorb more of that goodness into you. But what I like about what you said so far about actually finding your rhythm, it's something that is so important. Like it's the ultimate question between what is more important, the contents of what you're saying, or the actual motivation, or the actual purpose that you have for going about your ways in one particular. If you adopt some sort of a persona and you find your rhythm, it doesn't mean that you found the right rhythm, that suits you the best. So can you expand upon that idea? And I'm sorry for speaking so much. This is just an oral caveat and nothing more. Uh, and I will let you have the podium, shall we say, shall we speak.
Thank you again for your beautiful reflections. You're inspiring me as you speak and as you reflect back what you're witnessing and experiencing. So continue, please. I love it. So yeah, as far as personal rhythms, I'm going to start in the very beginning. As a young boy, I had my own rhythm, my own flow. I was very open and willing to test my physical boundaries. And I had much joy in doing so and much physical freedom in doing so because I was not restricting myself. As time went on and started to, go through puberty and become more self-conscious and, started conforming to these ideas of success and masculinity and what it means to be enough, I got really good at pushing myself to conform to that idea of enoughness or that idea of success or what I need to be doing. So I was really good at I was a wrestler in high school. I was really good at conforming to the discipline of that sport. Though I suffered internally the whole time, I was very, very anxious and very unable to fully express because I was so worried about the outcome. Moving forward into college, the same thing. I was really good at forcing myself to study all day long to ensure the best, in my mind, the best outcome possible. After college, again, good at conforming to work, working 40 hours a week, working 50 hours a week, moving through the hustle. And this was me conforming to the rhythm that society had placed upon me through my perception anyways. I'm not going to play the victim card, but the way that I perceived this message was that I need to be more and I need to do it like this if I am to ultimately be okay and be enough. Um, and then when you look deeper, it's just this desire to feel content, to feel whole, to feel complete unto oneself. And the more, so coming from really conforming, really forcing myself and witnessing the child that was so free slowly fall apart and very physically get affected by it, injury after injury, and my body seeming like something wasn't right from this chronic stress, I was fortunate to eventually find meditation and to be guided by a professor. I was in a psychology of exercise class, and just to learn that the main symptom of anxiety is muscle tension. And she guided us through this contract and relax technique. And I became very present in my body, and my mind became still. I'm like, oh, my mind was constantly churning up until this moment of stillness. I didn't even notice that it was like that. And, so starting to meditate, starting to find stillness, and starting to really connect with my true self. And then, that kind of just being the beginning of the journey of finding my own rhythm, which is now I work about 16 hours a week coaching people. The rest of the time I'm either writing music, I'm I'm playing with my dog in the backyard, I'm riding my bike, I'm taking plenty of naps. And old Eric would have been like, that's laziness. But I'm so much more productive and fulfilled than I have ever been just because I gave myself the opportunity to find my own rhythm. I had to surrender, if you will, to what my body was asking me for, which was more rest, more play. And that goes into my personality type too. One of my main, if you've ever heard of the Enneagram test, one of my primary type is that of the peacemaker, which you picked up on that vibe, which allows me to be in flow more easily. But my second type is that of the achiever. So I'm really good at pushing myself to my absolute limit, but the weakness is burnout. And I hit extreme, extreme burnout and was essentially forced to redirect myself and find my own rhythm, which is more rest, more play, more flow, more enjoyment. And I think that goes for everybody.
Yeah, that is awesome. I will ask you some more questions. I just want to raise a point that you've made. The main personality types, there's a different way some scholar, a Jewish scholar, it doesn't matter. It's not really pertinent to the point that I'm trying to make, but he tells of a story of a person who he gives example of a person who is someone who is a fixer, someone who perceives himself as traversing this world, this realm. At least I believe it's just the every religion and every person who is not religious believes there is something beyond the physical in some capacity, at least something that is unexplained. But there are people who are fixers, people who just want to contribute. They are completely and utterly altruistic. They want to give as much to other people. And he says that there are two types of people, and even it doesn't matter, race, color, religion, age, social class. There are two types of people: the people who meet other people and say, what can I get from this person? What can I get out of this person from this interaction? And there are the other types of people who say, how can I put a smile on your face? And that is a wonderful kind of a sentence and a phrase, a little tidbit, of course. But how did you actually, because from what I can tell from my personal experience, and I will end with that and we'll give you the mic, we'll pass you the mic again. I used to, I don't know, I was a problem child, and stuff like this. And I couldn't learn anything in school. I was way smarter than any other of all the other pupils in my class. And I used to go to kind of go to the forest and just be in complete solitude, shall we say. And I used to meditate. I would look at the sky and I would meditate, and I would like focus on, and so I couldn't look at the sun directly, which it's not true that you go blind if you look at the sun. You won't. It's just, the sun rays are dimmed. They are they are not directly entering your pupils. But I used to meditate with eyes wide open for some reason. Everything just shut off, everything froze around me. I couldn't perceive objects, and everything was, like blurred lines, and my mind's eye were focused. So how did you actually get to that perception, um, that awareness? Where did it come from? Was it induced by any particular incident?
I can't I can't say anything specific that I can remember, but in hearing your explanation of what you did in the woods as you were meditating, what even with your eyes open, what you were doing was focusing on what was in your present moment. And I think all meditation for the most part is doing something in some way, whether you're feeling the breath and doing a certain breathing pattern, um, relaxing the body one limb at a time, listening to a sound or the sound of a fan, just listening to the birds, any anything that you could perceive with your senses in this now moment that brings you here. And as you come into that now moment, the mind will slowly turn off, even if just for a second. And at first, it'll be just a blip. And over time, it gets deeper, it gets longer. But again, you're just using something that walks you into the moment. And when the mind turns off, or when the thoughts kind of cease, even if just for a moment, what's just left is awareness. What's just left is your own presence. And the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle was the first book that really got me into that intimate relationship with my own presence. And when I guide others through meditations, that's really what where I'm trying to breathe them. I'll help them, deepen their breath and use their belly and really, things to bring them into the moment, but I'm not consciously telling them to be in the moment. And then eventually I get them into a place where I'm having them notice the space behind their eyelids. And I'm like, see if you could become aware of your own awareness. See if you could become aware of your own presence. And some people, it's like, oh, because like I pointed their attention back at themselves and they become aware, that self awareness, not that self consciousness that causes anxiety, but just like, oh, I'm this still awareness. And I think meditation in its essence and what I discovered in its essence was that just getting into the moment just enough and you kind of can go into it when you're doing certain things you could go into a trance. Like it sounds like that's what you were doing when you were in the woods. The nature was calming your nervous system, but you were looking at the landscape
Yes,
or the skyscape in such a way. Yeah.
the Bushido and Bushido, and the samurai kind of philosophical uh, philosophical perception or way of looking, perceiving. There's a term called zanshi in Japanese, which is the complete stillness of the mind. The warrior, he just zeroes in on his own mind, and tries to puck, to cut down. But there's a nice word for it in Hebrew. It's called kmiya. The craving. You stop your craving for the physical, materialistic um, things, shall we say, things, objects, whatever. You stop that craving, the wanting to accrue more things, the wanting to experience the fleshes of the um, bodily how do you call it, enjoyments or whatever. So when you actually want to when a client approaches you that you would like to work on the rhythm, what do you notice like immediately is kind of off in their natural rhythm? They don't let themselves, they don't express themselves to the fully, they don't actually expand their potential in a proper way.
Yeah, it's funny because obviously every person is different and um what I immediately try to understand and help whoever I'm speaking to understand is what they really want. What do you really want? So some people have certain health goals. I was a personal trainer for a while, so a lot of the people I work with now are kind of from that realm of health. Um, so some people have a certain health goal. Some people have a certain financial goal, all these physical goals. And it's not, I don't want to say that there's something off about their rhythm, more so that there's just a lack of awareness of what it is they really want. So helping people get really clear on, okay, if you get this, if you have this job, if you live in this place, you have that physical thing, what do you imagine that will give you? And I try to help them tune into the essence of that goal so that I could help attune them to the emotion that they want to feel. And that's what we could work with. And that's what the law of attraction is all about, is knowing how it is you want to feel and practicing tuning your own vibration to that feeling. So most people want the same things. They want peace, they want freedom, they want happiness, they want connection. So most people, and I'm not even gonna now, because more and more people are waking up. I'm working with people that are like, I just want to feel like I'm enough, and that was me and that is me. I just want to feel like I'm enough. So a lot of people could fixate on that physical thing, like you're saying, but so I try to help people really tune into the essence of that. And, the same pattern that shows up is when you help people get really clear on their vision. So some people don't even know what they want. They're like, I need to move somewhere from here. When you help them get really clear on that goal and that vision, and you help them define the amount and when they want it and all this other stuff, just to give them a conduit to access that emotion that they really want. Once you get clear, the ego jumps up and all the blocks come up,
Yeah.
all the inner obstacles, and that's where
Well,
the
we
work is
have
really
a
done.
fair warning. Sorry, we have less than a minute, but we'll have
Oh boy.
to we'll have to continue on the conversation, of course. We'll talk about the oversaturation of social media and the all the images and the veneer of Hollywood and fame and stuff like this. And I want to thank you